Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Learning. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of HTML tags and its anatomy. All right, let's break down the anatomy of an HTML tag in a way that's super easy to understand. Picture this. We have the phrase "Hello World" wrapped up nicely between an opening tag and a closing tag. So, what's happening here? Well, think of these tags as magical brackets that tell your browser how to display the text inside them. It's like back in the day when you'd scribble a squiggly line under words in a manuscript to tell the publisher, hey, make this bold. But in our case, the publisher is the browser, making our vision come to life on the web. These tags are like tiny requests to the browser, asking it to structure and show our plain text in a specific way, just like a web designer intended. Now, here's a cool twist. Some tags don't even need a closing tag. They're like the superheroes of HTML, doing their job solo. Ready to see it in action? Let's jump right in and explore how these tags work their magic. You've already seen one in action with the line break tag BR, and there are a few more like it. Now, how do we figure out if a tag needs a closing tag or if it's self-closing? This is where our trusty documentation comes to the rescue. Let's check out the documentation for heading elements. You'll see a section that says tag omission, which tells us both the starting and ending tags are mandatory. This helps us specify exactly which part of our text we want to style. Next, let's look at the BR or line break element. Under tag omission, it says it must have a start tag but must not have an end tag. Voila, that's how we know it's self-closing. Easy, right? While we're here, let me introduce you to another cool element, the horizontal rule, or the HR tag. This nifty tag lets us create horizontal lines above and below our text. According to the documentation, the HR tag also must not have an end tag, making it another self-closing superstar. Let's head back to our code editor and add these horizontal rules. We'll put the first one here and the second one here. Watch as our web page gets those neat horizontal lines above and below our main text. Cool, huh? But wait, if we take a closer look at this other website, you'll see their horizontal rule is a bit thicker than ours. How do they do that? Here's a neat trick. Open any web page in Chrome. Right-click on the element you're curious about and click Inspect. This opens up the developer tools, showing you the HTML and CSS code running in the background. Let's check out their HR element. You can see they've got an HR, but there's a bunch of styling going on too. So, what exactly is an HTML attribute? Let's break it down. The first part of the tag is the HTML element itself, like BR, HR, or whatever element you want to use. Now, the second part inside the angle brackets is something new and exciting, the HTML attribute. HTML attributes give more information to the browser, helping it understand how to modify that HTML element. For example, if we want a horizontal rule HR, we can add an attribute to specify its size. So when we say HR size start 3, we're telling the browser, hey, make this horizontal rule 3 pixels high. But wait, what does size 3 mean? How do we know what attributes are available? You guessed it, we're heading back to the documentation. I know I keep talking about documentation, but trust me, it's a superpower. Being able to look up and understand documentation is crucial for any developer. Let's check out the documentation for the HR element. There's a section called Attributes that tells us all the cool things we can do with our horizontal rule. The attribute comes after the main HTML element and is separated by a single space. For example, the HR element has several attributes. You can align it to the left, right, or center. You can change its color, decide if it should have shading, and set its height in pixels. This is why their horizontal rule look different from ours. By default, ours is only 1 pixel high, but theirs is 3 pixels high with no shading. Let's head back to our code and jazz up our horizontal rule. We'll add size 3 to make it 3 pixels high, and we can also add no shade to remove any shading. All right. So if we want to make our website a seamless copy of what we see, we need to specify those attributes. Remember, the horizontal rule HR is a self-closing tag. To modify it, we'll add a space inside the tag, specify the attribute name, which according to our trusty documentation is size, and set it to 3 pixels. This tells the browser to make our horizontal rule 3 pixels high with no shading. Once we update our code, you'll see the new horizontal rule looks completely different. Now let's add the same horizontal rule to the top, so both lines look identical. Cool, right? Now, let's add one final tag, center, to center our content. Here's what our code looks like now. And just like that, Our web page now looks exactly like the one we're copying. To understand how they've structured the rest of the document, right-click on any web page element in Chrome and select Inspect. This opens up the developer tools where you can see the HTML and CSS. Now it's challenge time. Open CodePen and create a new pen. This will be your code playbook, an interactive notebook where you document everything you learn. For example, in the last lesson, we learned about the H1 tag. Add it to your playbook like this. Here's the challenge. Start keeping notes on everything you learn in this course. Sometimes you'll need to use comments for elements like the line break BR, which can't contain text. Comments are ignored by the browser and are a great way to write notes to yourself or other programmers. To create a comment in HTML, we will use the angle bracket, then an exclamation mark, 2 dashes, and then to close off the comment, we will use another 2 dashes and a closing angle bracket, and everything in between here is a comment. By the time you're ready to create your own website, your playbook will be a goldmine of resources. In the next lesson, we're building our very first website using a real text editor, and we'll even put it live on the internet. It's going to be awesome. So stay tuned, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for more fun tutorials. See you next time.